welcome to the Crafty Tinker. I'm Nicole, and this week is week 2 of Christmas in July. I pulled out my husband's Fair Isle Fisherman's Keps that I made for him last year. I will post pictures of those so that you can see them a little bit better. While I was on my Kep making frenzy, I would try to think about what people were interested in and do a theme on the hat based on their interests. So I knew that the only type of winter hat like this my husband will wear is a Christmas hat. And he wears it from the time it gets cold enough until the time it gets too warm. He does not care if it's Christmas themed. He will wear it from November through March if he has to. He loves it. His favorite Christmas movie is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It's always the first Christmas movie that we start watching in September during the season. And so I knew immediately I had to do a hat for him. Now, when I search for patterns, I'll go to Ravelry, or I will go to Pinterest, or I will just Google search what I'm looking for. And sometimes I can't find it. So during those times, which this particular instance, I had a really difficult time finding exactly what I was looking for. I have graph paper that I downloaded from the Fair Isle Fisherman's Kep Facebook group. I printed off one copy, and now I just make photocopies every time I need a new sheet, and I draw my patterns on those. So here is what I'm talking about. This graph paper is different than regular graph paper because the squares are squished a little bit. Because knit stitches are squished a little bit. So I guess it's, knitting graph paper, I should say. But the ladies who run the group have kindly provided a file for anyone who belongs to the group to be able to utilize to design their keps. Now, the pattern that I use for number of stitches and the pattern instructions is here. And I know I mentioned in my first video, but in case you haven't happened to watch my first video, the pattern was a fundraiser for windows for the museum. So the money really goes to a good cause. It was written by Anne Sinclair, and I have made about 15 hats with it. I love it. It's my go-to pattern. I really don't have to look at it anymore because I just know the stitch numbers. But I enjoy being able to make different hats from the same pattern. Even if you had 4 people who used the same colors, you'd all put in different variations and it would come out looking so different from each other. So I really love it. And I think I've only actually made one traditional Fair Isle Fisherman's Kep. Otherwise, I tend to draw a lot of my own patterns. Or I also, for the top part, the crown, I use the top of a tam pattern. This book was written by Mary Rowe, and I tend to find, I have another book of hers that I actually can't find right now. It's buried in a pile of books. Need to reorganize my bookshelves, but it's just a thin little book, and she put, I think, 17 or 18, maybe 20 patterns, tam patterns. And so what I'll do is once I finish, I'll find, like if I'm doing a winter hat, I like to do something that looks like a snowflake, which I did with the second National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation Kep that I did. Now, yes, there are 2. with the first one that I did, I actually did some Christmas trees on the top. So here's the scoop with 2. Why did I have to make 2 hats? Well, remember, if you've tuned in before, I have spoken about not swatching. I made the first one too small. It just barely fit my husband. And so he was wearing it like a trooper, but it did not look comfortable. And I had to add a little bit of fleece inside because he has a bit of a sensitive forehead. And so I sewed some fleece inside, and that made it even worse. It was the thinnest fleece I could find, and it just wasn't working. So I said to him that I would make him a second one, and I did. And most of the time I wear this one. And I also didn't like how I tried to put a quote, but it had to be a little quote because it's not exactly easy, or I have never knitted a saying into anything before, and so I decided I was going to do it with this Fair Isle hat. So I looked up a quote that we use frequently, and I just shortened it. So on the hat, I decided to put lot of sap, and really, it doesn't look that great. So there's the car with the Christmas tree on top, and then I have the here the moose mugs with eggnog in them, and then Cousin Eddie's camper, and then the Christmas trees on top. So that was the first one that I wear now during Christmas. And then the second one, I just took his 3 favorites. I made it a little bit shorter, and I made it a lot larger, and I changed up some of the colors with it. So on the bottom is the moose mug again, and then I made a little bit, well, I think I kept that the same. The next one is Cousin Eddie's camper, and then I changed up the station wagon with the Christmas tree on top to make it actually look like the wood paneled station wagon that's in the film. So he really enjoyed the changes that I made to it. And like I said, I kind of liked the top of this tam. I think it was, no, I'm not even going to attempt to say which number it was. But anyway, it's in one of Mary Rowe's tam books, the one with all the patterns. And so I chose this because it looked like a snowflake to me. These are great holiday gift-giving presents. You could make them in any theme, and you could do a traditional theme, all the different colors. Oh, and I didn't mention that these 2 hats are both made with Jameson and Smith yarn. And I also used for the second version that I did, on the inside, I did the brim with alpaca from A Touch of Twist alpaca farm. I picked up 2 skeins of it at Rhinebeck in October, one silver and one black, to do a shawl. And I ended up using it for this project because it's soft. That's the story with that. I can link you to my project page on Ravelry if you'd like to see more information. But yeah, so another great holiday present right here. Give somebody a hat. Who doesn't love a hat? I certainly love a hat, and I have too many in the closet. But really, are there too many? No, there's no such thing as too many hats. I will put the instructions on how to order Anne Sinclair's pattern in the description below, and feel free to join the Facebook group. It is one of the best, kindest Facebook knitting groups that I belong to. If you're wondering what sweater I'm wearing this week, it is just a pug and a Christmas hat sweater that I ordered from an online source a few years ago before I started knitting. But it is my favorite thing to wear in the winter. I just love pugs, I love Christmas, and I love that it's a bit wild looking. So this is one of my favorite sweaters. Speaking of sweaters, my Strange Brew Sweater. I finished the last pattern before I thought I was getting to the armholes. And then I realized that I have to increase one more time. And then I also measured the yoke to make sure it was the right size. And I'm 3 inches short. So somewhere along the line, my tension got a little bit tighter. And so now I need to increase and also go 3 inches further before I can cast off the stitches for the armholes. I did try it on yesterday. I will post a photo of that. I just wanted to make sure that the steek would definitely be in the front center of the sweater, because this has been something that I've been worried about. Part of me wishes that maybe I had just for my first sweater decided to do no steek, but we'll see what happens with it. If you see me at the fair in October, the New York State Sheep and Wool Festival, and I have a steek to the left or to the right, it will be a design feature. Doesn't everybody love to button their sweaters over here? So hopefully not. Hopefully it will be mostly centered. This is a learning process for me, and I'm a visual learner. I have to do something to really to really learn how to do it. I can't just read it and know. So anyway, this is how big my sweater is. I have also realized that I really need to focus only on this sweater, because it has taken me since April. The end of April or the beginning of May. I can't remember the exact date that I cast on, but I know that I started planning it at the beginning of April. So if I don't put my rear in gear and really focus on this one project, I'll be wearing half a sweater. I don't want to do a cropped cardigan. So I need to get working on this. So from now on, this will definitely be my focus whenever I am at home. I will still keep a project in the car because I really don't feel comfortable bringing this in the car with me to knit on my lap. So that's all I have for this week. I hope that if it is hot in your neck of the woods, you're staying hydrated. And if it is cold in your neck of the woods, I hope you're staying warm. I will be back again next week with another Christmas in July themed episode. I hope you all have a great week. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to follow along and see more of my videos, please subscribe. There should be a button down here, and don't forget to click the bell for notifications. If you have a favorite project that you'd like to make for the holidays, please feel free to drop a link in the comments below and I will check it out. So I hope everybody has a great week. Bye.